An ex is an ex for a reason. This seems to be what society says when they find out you want to get your ex back. They'll say things like, "There's other fish in the sea. Why are you trying to get your ex back? Never take something back you threw away in the garbage can. If you can get them back, you'll just stay stuck in the same patterns and break up again." Getting your ex back from advice on the internet is a scam. People often look at you as being weak-minded or weak-willed if you have a moment where you want to get your ex back. It has even gotten to the point where I tell a lot of the clients who come to me who want to recover from a breakup or even sometimes get their exes back, that sometimes the worst people to talk to are some of the most trusted individuals around you, your friends or family, especially if they're giving you statements like this. Statements like the garbage can thing, like when you throw your ex out in the garbage can, why would you take that garbage back? What's always funny, I find, about people who say this is usually they've never been in a situation where they've truly wanted to get an ex back. Meaning they either broke up with their ex and were really okay with that decision and have no intentions of getting them back, or they were broken up with by their ex and so heartbroken they said, you know what, I don't want them back. But if they do enter into a relationship with someone who they love more than anything, who they love more than anyone they've ever loved, when that person breaks up with them and they get to experience what your situation is like, where you want to get your ex back more than anything, usually they change their tune quite a bit. But that's actually not the reason I'm making this video. I'm actually making this video because recently I stumbled across another video on YouTube that was basically entitled, "Why You Should Never Get Back with Your Ex." Now, naturally, being in the space that I am, I got curious to see what this video was saying. And it made some good points, but there was a lot of the points that it made that I just completely disagreed with, or that were so broad you can look at them in either spectrum. So when you really look at this video, and remember, this video is completely arguing for the fact that you should never be trying to get back with an ex, ever. There were really three main points that it was trying to make. The first point was that your relationship will never be like it was before. The second point was your ex has probably moved on already. And the third point is acceptance is the first step. So let's explore, because the video was produced by someone who really didn't have a lot of research to back up what they were saying, or didn't seem like they had been grounded in real life breakups from thousands of people who've been through breakups who want their exes back. So what I'd like to do is take those three tenets and give my own personal opinion on them. So what's my take on your relationship will never be like it was before? The main thing here that video is trying to do is basically saying, if you do get your ex back, don't expect your relationship to be like it was before. This is actually something I completely agree with, but they're looking at it from a negative sense. I'm coming at it from a positive sense. So one thing we do know from people who do get back with their exes is that about half of them break up again. Why? Very simply, it's this concept in action. Your relationship isn't new. It is not better. It is the same thing over and over again, meaning the same problems are cropping up, and eventually a breakup will occur. So your thing that you should be focusing on isn't the fact that, well, there's no way that our relationship can ever be new or better. That's false. It can be new and better. Just ask some of the clients that we've had come through our program that have gotten married. People who have improved their relationship to such a level that they are now married and still remain happily married. They'll have a different perspective than someone who isn't able to focus on the problems. So the thing I would say here is that if you do get back with your ex, you 100% need to be focusing on making your relationship a new relationship. It needs to be completely different than the old relationship. Albert Einstein once said, "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result." Simply put, if you get back into a relationship with your ex and nothing has changed, you will 100% get the same result. But I think the thing that video that's saying you should never try to get your ex back because things will never be the same, that's untrue. If you do not change the nature of your relationship when you get your ex back, yes, you will break up again and it will be hurtful and painful. But we try to prepare our clients when we work with them so that when they get back with their exes, they're working on whatever problems caused the breakup in the first place. Here's another interesting thing that we've learned that kind of connects. We do have sometimes people who come through our program, even though we highly focus on breakups between boyfriends and girlfriends, we have people whose marriages are falling apart. They are separated. They aren't living together anymore. They're still legally married, but it's just essentially the same as a breakup. Now, what I find interesting is that situations like this have a much higher success rate than just a simple boyfriend-girlfriend for a lot of different reasons. Financial reasons, history reasons, things like that. But also both people are willing to work to make sure that that relationship is a different one, or they're working on those problems. But what's interesting to me is the fact that when you look at these two situations, technically speaking, someone who is married and separated is exactly the same as someone who is broken up with. Yes, you can argue that because they're legally married still, they're, still legally married. But I mean, usually the people coming to us have been served divorce papers, which is essentially the worst type of breakup. Yet society has no problem with people working on their marriages, but they have a complete problem with someone who is throwing out the garbage. Get what I'm saying? The second thing is that your ex has probably moved on already. Again, this is something that I don't disagree with. Your ex 100% has moved on already, just like you have the opportunity to move on already. But here's what we've learned. At its core, a breakup is nothing more than one party saying to another party, "I think I can do better than you. I think I can find someone that fulfills my needs more and better than you." In other words, it's the grass is greener syndrome personified. So it does make sense that your ex would want to move on. And if they do move on, sometimes they do realize that that grass isn't greener on the other side. And the beautiful part about this type of a situation is I'm not saying you need to take your ex back. All I'm saying is I'm defending the people who do take their exes back. Because sometimes, especially if that breakup wasn't amicable, especially if your ex thinks that the grass is greener on the other side and then comes to find out it wasn't and deeply regrets it and then comes and begs for you back and you take them back, the assumption is, wow, look how badly he or she treated her ex. They moved on to someone else. And I guess my point is sometimes it takes them moving on to someone else for them to realize and value you. Now, me personally, if I was in that situation, I would have a hard time getting past that, and that's completely okay. But my thoughts on that situation is unique to me. Each individual person that is going through a breakup is going to have a unique perspective on this. Some people are okay with it. Some people will take their exes back despite them having moved on. It's so situational, you can't just lump everyone into one specific space. And the one thing I want to really highlight here is just because your ex broke up with you and moved on to someone else doesn't mean that you have stopped wanting them. A lot of people think that the fact that your ex moved on to someone else should mean that your feelings should turn off. But reality doesn't work that way. In fact, it sometimes makes it more complicated because the fact that they moved on to someone else gives you a bit of this reactance theory where the fact that they've taken the behavioral freedom of that relationship away makes you want them more. Is that a healthy approach? No, but you'll find out with what we talk about next that we have a much different approach towards breakups than the average breakup outfit. So the third and final thing that most of these "you should never take an ex back" videos really talk about is acceptance and how acceptance is the first step. So here is the assertion that people make. They say if you're hung up on your ex, so much so that you can think about nothing other than your ex, you will have a hard time accepting the breakup and moving on. And at its core, they're right. It's true. but that's not the way I would approach it. I've been doing this for 10 years. Most of the people who come through our program have what we call anxious tendencies. So if you're familiar with attachment styles, there are 4 main attachment styles. Secure attachment style, which is kind of like the holy grail. Anxious attachment style, they'll exhibit anxious tendencies. Avoidant attachment style, they'll exhibit avoidant tendencies. And then of course, fearful attachment style, which is kind of a combination. It's the worst one, avoidant and anxious kind of together in one. That's a very basic mention of things. The assumption from an attachment style that most people are having is if you are hung up on your ex, you will not be able to sort of be more secure and move on from the breakup, because that's what society thinks you should do. Here's what we think you should do. If you are going through a breakup and you literally are sitting there and thinking, I want my ex back more than anything, I know my friends and family don't think it's the best thing for me, but I feel like I just need to do it to prove to myself that I'm going to see this through to the end. I think that is an okay approach, but ultimately, no matter what you do, our program teaches you how to shift more of your anxious attachment style tendencies to more of a secure tendency, so that usually we're working really hard with our clients to get them to a more secure space before they even talk to their ex, because usually one of 2 things happens. Number 1 is they realize they don't want their exes back and move on their own accord. The worst thing you can do is for me to sit here and say to you, stop trying to get your ex back, because usually you're gonna be like, well, I don't like that guy, and number 2, I'm not gonna listen to him. Well, the first thing we try to do from helping you move from an anxious sort of attachment style tendencies to more secure attachment style tendencies is it allows you to look and see the world in a clearer focus. You can choose whether or not you want to continue trying to get your ex back or moving on because you don't feel as pained or hurt when you think about the breakup. The second thing that it can do for you if you decide you don't want to move on and you want to try to get them back is it gives you a much better shot of seeing success. Your ex is a lot more likely to be attracted to a secure attachment style individual as opposed to an anxious attachment style individual. It goes directly back into that first thing, which is like, oh, well, this new relationship, there's nothing different. Well, immediately if you're coming into the relationship with a different mindset, something is already different. And believe me when I say your ex will react a little bit differently to some of the secure tendencies that you're able to exhibit. For example, what we know from attachment styles is that the secure attachment style almost kind of serves as gravity for all of the other attachment styles. Meaning, if you come into this with an extremely secure foundation, your ex is likely to mimic some of those secure tendencies, especially if they were like jealous in the past. Maybe they won't be as jealous anymore. Now, I'm not saying this is the quick fix and it will fix every problem. It won't, but they will slowly gravitate more towards you if you can achieve that secure mindset. So here's the thing. If you want to get your ex back and you're feeling bad about the way society treats you or the fact that, most of your friends or family aren't on board with it, but you still can't get it out of your head, here's my approach. In the end, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your family isn't the most important relationship in your life. The relationship with yourself is, because in the end, when you live your entire life, your friends aren't going to be around at the very end. Your family's not going to be around at the very end. Even your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend won't be around at the very end. Just yourself. So if you are going to live life with a constant regret of what could have happened, I say try your very best so that you don't have any regrets at the end of your life. And usually if you're able to obtain that secure foundation and you still fail to get them back, you can put your head down on your pillow at the end of the day and say, I tried everything, it didn't work, but I'm proud of my effort. To me, that's the most important thing. Not listening to the garbage can throw out or there's other fish in the sea or why are you trying to get your ex back? In the end, what matters is you. What feels best to you so that you don't live life with regrets? Hey, so if you're sitting there and really thinking about trying to get your ex back, the first piece of advice I could probably give you is to actually hop over to our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz. It's a simple, free 2-minute quiz designed to tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back in your specific, unique situation. If you want to take the quiz, just look in the description below this YouTube video and click the blue link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where we will get you taken care of. Also, if you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so you can help us out with the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you guys next time.